Hello, dear students. I hope you had a good school day. Today we're going to talk about the present perfect tense, which is the grammar of Unit 4, how do groups work together. I know that teachers explained it to you today and last Thursday, but I'm going to give you an extra explanation for this lesson. Here we're going to talk about actions happened in the past. The present perfect tense is about actions happened in the past. The difference between the present perfect tense and any other tenses used in the English language to talk about actions happened in the past is that with the present perfect, we do not mention when this action happened. We just focus on the action, not on when it happened. So we use the present perfect tense when we talk about actions happened in the past and we don't know the exact time of when it happened, or it's not important when it happened. So I focus on the action, not the timing of the action. Like here in the example in front of you, we have won a lot of basketball tournaments. Full stop. الجملة خلصت. Here I did not mention when we won these tournaments. We just focused on the action itself, which is winning a lot of tournaments. We do not always need a time phrase with the present perfect, because we use this tense when time is not important, written in bold and underlined, because I want to focus on the action, not the timing of the action, not when it happened. Time is not important. Type. So there are some time phrases or many time phrases that we can use in this tense, like for example, recently or before or in my life. Like here, we have had a lot of homework recently. I did not mention if it's this term or last year or when I was in Prep 1 or when I was in Primary 4. I did not mention when we had a lot of homework. I just said recently. So recently, we don't exactly know when. Like this, the other example, I have eaten sushi twice in my life. When did these two times happen? I don't care. I just focus on the action itself, which is eating sushi. So these two actions happened in the past, but I don't know exactly when they happened. We use the present perfect with ever, it means at any time, or never, it means it never happened, it did not happen, to talk about our experiences. Like, for example, if I asked you, have you ever visited Alexandria? Have you ever in your life experienced visiting Alexandria? You can say no, I have never been to Alexandria, or I have never visited Alexandria, or yes, I have. So we use never to say we haven't had this experience in your life. Like, have you ever won a basketball tournament? No, we have never won a tournament. Or yes, we have. But here you have to pay attention to something. You do not use not and never in the same sentence because they mean the same. We can use in the negative sentence, we can use not or never, but we cannot use them together. Like here, I have never watched a horror movie. I have never watched a horror movie. Or I haven't watched a horror movie. But I cannot say I haven't never watched a horror movie because they both mean the same if you want to make the sentence in the negative form. Okay, here we have the present perfect tense and the past perfect tense together. If I am asking you about the experience, if you have tried something or you have visited a place before, I'm asking about your experience. If you have visited this place or you have tried this food or you have traveled to this country, if you have been through this, your answer is going to be in the past simple tense. Like here in the example here, have you ever visited your cousins in France? You have cousins, they live in France. Have you ever visited them? If your answer is yes, it could be yes, I have. And then if you want to tell me when you visited them, you're going to use the past simple tense. I went to France with my parents last summer. Last summer here is when you visited them. So here we have to use went. You cannot say I have gone. I ask you about your experience, you give me the answer. If you want to give me more details about your visit or when you you did this action, you're going to talk in the past simple tense. Have you ever visited your cousins in France? You will say yes, I have. Full stop. When بقى? I went to France with my parents last summer. You mentioned when, so you have to use the past simple tense, which is went, not have gone. We use the simple past to talk about actions that happened at a specific point in the past. We usually use a time phrase. So here, the difference between the present perfect tense and the past simple tense, both actions happen in the past. But in the present perfect, we not mention when. In the past simple, we mention when. Here, we won the game yesterday. If you want to remove yesterday, you say you have won the game and we have won the game, full stop. But since you mentioned yesterday, so we won the match yesterday or the game yesterday, full stop. I called my parents 10 minutes ago. If you do not mention 10 minutes ago, you could say I have called my parents, full stop. جملة خلصت برضو. I did not mention when I called them. But since you added 10 minutes ago, you have to use the past simple tense. So this is the difference between the present perfect and the past simple tense. They are both about actions happen in the past. But the present perfect is about actions happen in the past and we do not know when they happened. And the past simple tense are about actions. It's about actions happen in the past and we know when it happened and when these happened. These actions happened. طب how can we form it بقى? You start a sentence with the subject, then have or has, have with the I, we, they, you, has with he and she and it, haven't or hasn't if you have a negative sentence, then the past participle of a verb. And pay attention to another thing. We know that we have in the English language, we have regular verbs and irregular verbs. Regular verbs, we add ed to the verb and that's it, like visit, visited, visited. Like here we have the irregular verbs. These do not follow rules in the English language. You have go, gone, go, went and gone. Do, did and done. Break, broke, broken. So you have to learn them by heart. In the affirmative sentences, we start with the subject I, we, they, you, plus have or apostrophe ve, if this is the abbreviation of it. Then, our short form of it, made a pizza. Or he and she and it has or apostrophe s, the short form of has, eaten all the bread. Full stop. The negative we can use haven't or hasn't, or we can use never. Like here, I have not or haven't cooked dinner. I have never cooked dinner. If you want to talk about never, that you have never cooked dinner in your entire life. He hasn't or he or she or it hasn't read the recipe or never read the recipe. In the questions, the short answers like yes or no questions, have you ever or have you met the new teacher? Yes, I have, or no, I haven't. Has he tried this cake? Yes, he has, or no, he hasn't. And this part is talking about the irregular verbs and regular verbs, so you have to learn them by heart. There are no rules when it comes to irregular verbs, just learn them by heart. Okay, now we need to know the difference between has been and has gone. If I asked you a question, where is Ahmed? Ahmed فين? You can say he has been to England or he has gone to England. And these two sentences are different. When I say Ahmed has been to England, I mean he's back now. He went to England and now he's back. But if I said Ahmed has gone to England, it means that he's still there. He's still there, he's gone, he's never back. He's still there. So I could use I have been to Alexandria, or I have gone to Alexandria. It means that I have been to Alexandria, I went there and I came back. I have been to Alexandria. I have gone. It means I'm there. I went there and I'm still there. I have never came back. Okay? And we know, of course, from Unit 1 or Unit 2, yes, Unit 2, the past simple tense. How do we form the past simple tense? In the affirmative sentences, we start the sentence with the subject, then the simple past form of a verb, like when it's break, it's broke, when it's visit, it's visited, when it's go, it's went, when it's do, it's did. And the negative is did not, and then the infinitive form of the verb, like I did not break, I did not go, I did not do. And when we ask a question, yes or no question or WH question, we start the sentence with a WH question, what, who, when, where, then did, then the subject, then the infinitive form of the verb I use in the sentence. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a productive day tomorrow, inshallah, and thank you.